Welcome. Today we're going to take a look at drawing our name plaque in Autodesk Inventor 2018. To begin, I'm going to start with New, Standard IPT, click Create. I'm going to begin with a 2D sketch right here. Click on the pencil piece of paper in the upper left hand corner of the ribbon, and I'm going to select my XY plane. Click Front to zoom all in the world. Next, I'm going to begin making my workpiece with the rectangle tool. So I'm going to select my rectangle tool. When I bring my cursor down into the screen, you see how a yellow dot is in the middle of it. When I make the yellow dot touch the origin, it turns green. I'm going to hold my mouse steady, click, make sure I got a green dot. I'm going to stretch out a rectangle in the upper right hand quadrant. My horizontal dimension, which is highlighted blue on the screen, my horizontal dimension I'm going to change to 8. Then I'm going to press the Tab key. My vertical dimension I'm going to change to 4, and then press the Enter key on the keyboard. Next, I'm going to take in Finish Sketch, green check mark in the upper right hand corner, Finish Sketch. I'm going to click my Home in order to view all. Then I'm going to Extrude. Click my Extrude tool up here in the ribbon. I'm going to extrude direction number 2, that's the second box right here. Direction 2, and I'm going to highlight the 1 inch default dimension in there, and I'm going to change that to 3/4 of an inch or 0.75, and then select OK. Now I have my rough workpiece laid out. Next I need to put a rectangle in here and text. So first I'm going to take my 2D sketch, pencil piece of paper up here, and I'm going to come down to my front view on my block. Once this highlights in red, I'm going to click to place my sketch. I'm going to click Front in order to view all. Then, using my rectangle tool, I'm going to start in the lower left hand corner of my workpiece. Notice my workpiece is all gray. I'm going to start in the lower left hand corner, giving myself some room. Click and stretch a rectangle out. The horizontal dimension that I'm going to type in into the blue box is 7.25. Press the Tab key on the keyboard. The next dimension I'm going to type in is 2.25, and then press Enter on the keyboard. Once I have my rectangle drawn, I need to locate it on my workpiece. It's not centered, so I'm going to press the Escape key to let go of my rectangle tool. Then I'm going to come over and get my Dimension tool from the ribbon bar. Once I have my Dimension tool, I'm going to come down and I'm going to select the bottom of my workpiece and the bottom of the rectangle that I just drew and stretch this dimension out to the left hand side. The dimension that's labeled in there, it doesn't really matter because we're going to change it. We're going to highlight that dimension and we're going to change it to 0.875, which is 7/8 of an inch, and then green check mark. That locates it vertically up and down on my block. Next I need to locate it horizontally and center it. So I'm going to click my Dimension tool. I want the left hand side of my workpiece, the left hand side of my rectangle that I drew. Bring this dimension down. Click to place it. This dimension we're going to change to 0.375, and then green check mark. That centers my rectangle on there pretty nicely. Coming up to my ribbon bar, I'm going to click green checkmark, Finish Sketch, and I'm going to extrude this rectangle. If yours doesn't automatically select the rectangle, you need to bring your mouse in. When that highlights red, click to select it, and now we're going to come up to our Extrude menu. In our Extrude menu, I want to extrude for distance. I want to change that to 0.188. I also want this to be a cut. So the second box down, I want to cut, and I also want to have direction number 2 selected. So 3 things: your distance 0.188, cut, and direction number 2. Then select OK. Now we created a spot for our text to go in, so we're going to get another 2D sketch. Place this on the bottom of that rectangle we just extruded. Click Front to zoom all, and then I'm going to select my text tool from the top ribbon bar. Coming into my field, I'm going to click to place it. And here I'm going to take and highlight my font height. And I'm going to change it to 1.25. That's going to be my text height. If you want, you can change the font. Toma works pretty good. You can also use Arial or Arial Black. You can change that by clicking and then selecting up or down. Okay, that can be your choice. I'm going to leave mine at Toma. Next, I'm going to take and type my name that I want to have in here. Put a space in between each letter. So here I type K space Y space L space E for the name Kyle. Then I'm going to come back and I'm going to highlight the space. I'm going to change the space size, font size, to 0.24. And then come back and change each space individually after that to 0.24. So my letters are 0.125. My spaces are 0.24. And then select OK. I'm still holding on to my text tool, so I want to press the escape key to let go of that. Next, I want to drag my text up onto the block in the middle of the sketch. I'm going to kind of eyeball it to make it centered, right to left and top to bottom. Maybe a little higher. That looks pretty good. Then I want to take in Finish Sketch, green check mark in the upper right hand corner. I'm going to take then and use our Emboss tool. So I'm going to click Emboss. The first thing I want to do is select my text. Highlights red when my mouse comes over the top of it. Click. I want to have my emboss where it goes up. And I'm going to change the depth to 0.188. And then click OK. And that brings your text forward. Nice job. Our part drawing is done. We're ready to move on to run our toolpaths. But first we're going to save this. So we're going to go up to the orange File in the upper left hand corner. Click. And we are going to Save As. This is the first time we're saving. So we're going to Save As. And I want to change my Save In directory from my little pull down menu. And I want to select my H drive. So my H drive is first initial, last name, 000. So right here, select it. Then I want to give this part a title. I'm going to give it my last name. And then, what is the part? This is my name plaque. So I'm going to type So I have my last name, Lammers, and then name plaque, the name of my part. And then click Save. Once it's saved, we're going to move on to our toolpaths. So right now I'm on 3D Model tab. I'm going to come over to my Cam tab. In my Cam tab, the first thing I want to do is Set Up. So I'm going to click my Setup folder. Here on this first tab, there's 3 tabs that go across the top. We work our tabs left to right and top to bottom. So on my first tab, going top to bottom, I want to change my origin from stock box point to model origin. And that moves your origin to the lower left corner. Then I'm going to move on to the next area, which is my stock setup. I'm going to change this to a fixed size box. And I'm going to change my height dimension here, my depth dimension, to instead of 1 to 0.75, because that's the thickness of my material. Next, I'm going to go to my Post-Process tab. And in this tab, I'm going to highlight the 1001. That's default in there. And I'm going to type in my name and part name. So I typed in my last name and then my part name, name plaque. And then click OK. Now that your setup is done, we're going to take and do a 2D pocket. So come to the 2D milling area and come up and find 2D pocket. The first thing we want to do is select our tools. So once again, these tabs, left to right, we're going to click into tabs, and then we want to do our tabs from top to bottom. First I want to select my tool, so click on the tool button. And in my tool library here, I'm going to come down and I want to find my Butler Middle School tool library. These are the ones that you downloaded from Blackboard. Click on those, and you want to find the 1/8 inch flat end mill right here, 1/8 inch flat, and click select. Okay, your tool should show up down here, and at the top here it should say 1/8 inch flat. Next we're going to move over to our selecting our geometry tab. That's the second tab in. When I select my geometry, I want to think about what parts do I want removed or cut. So down here in the bottom, I want to cut all this away. That highlights blue. And then also in my middle of my letters, in the E's, the O's, the A's, I want to get the bottom of my E, so the pocket that's inside that letter. I'm going to click home to go back out. Okay, so I have the middle of that hole in my E and the background for my part. Moving on to the next, I want to select my heights. Click the third tab in. Here, my top three, I want to change from whatever it is in the screen to stock top, and I'm going to change it to 0.2. Stock top 0.2, and this last one for the feed height, change it to stock top 0.2. So these top three are stock top and 0.2. Moving on to my multiple passes tab. The only thing I want to select here is down at the bottom where it says stock to leave. I want to uncheck it because I want it to go right to my part edges. Then I'm going to come over to my last one, my linking parameters tab. And in here I want to come down to leads and transitions. I want to deselect, uncheck, lead in, deselect or uncheck, lead out. And then I want to change my ramp style from helix to plunge. Once you're done with those changes, select OK. It's going to make your tool pass. And then I want to take and click Simulate. In the Simulate, I want to check Stock in order to turn my stock on right here. And then click Play when you are ready. And it'll take and cut your part the same way that it's going to cut on the CNC mill. Once it runs through and cuts your part, then you can click Close. Click Close, and then we're going to take and post-process. Right up here next to Simulate, we're going to post-process. The first thing we need to do is change our CNC mill. So click here in this box, and you want to scroll down. If it doesn't automatically select, you want to scroll down to the R's and you want to find RS274D. But the main important thing is you want to have one Butler Middle School Techno ESO. That's the one we want to choose, the one that says Butler Middle School Techno ESO. There is a lot of them on here. You want to find the one in the R section that is Butler Middle School Techno ESO. Next, I want to have my output folder. Click this gray box right here, and I want to select my H drive. If it doesn't automatically select your H drive, you're going to have to click here, drag down, and find your H drive to select it. Click Open. And the last thing, your program name or number, you're going to put in right here. Lammers name Plaque if it's not already there. Click Post. Click Save. When your screen editor shows up, we're going to click Close, the X in the upper right hand corner. Then I'm ready to go to Orange File and Save. This is a save, not a save as. And then I want to take in X out of Inventor. Go over to the computer that has connected to the CNC mill. And the icon on the desktop, CNC mill, click to open. We're going to translate execute. Select your Lammers name Plaque. Open. Click OK for the default menu. And click Preview. This is where you want to stop, get your teacher, and they'll help you cut your